and now I'm able to move the guides if I need to reposition them for any reason. And it's a good idea to, after you get it to where they want, you can lock the guides. Okay, also when you finish with the guides, totally, you can just clear them, because hiding guides and clearing guides are two different things, and there's no shortcut for clearing guides, so that you don't do it accidentally, which I think is probably a good thing. So when you clear the guides, you really have to go to the effort to clear the guides and get rid of them all, because during the course of creating some artwork, you can have guides all over the place. Okay, so that is ruler. Oh, one more thing. Also, you can create any vector art and make it into a guide. So here I have a line, and make that a little bit larger so you can see that it actually is a line. Okay, so here's a line that I've created. So now I can select this line, and I can go to View, Guides, Make Guides, and now that has become a line, a guide. It didn't matter what size it was, because I had like the 2-point. The guides are always the same size. So not only can I make a line a guide, I can also make any path, stroke, or object a guide. So I go to View, Guides, Make Guides, and here you see it's completely a guide now. And this may be good if you're doing a few different variations on Apple and you need the same shape. So whatever reason you need, you can make your vector art into a guide. All right. So that is rulers and guides. Okay, so now let's talk about grids. So you go to, the grid is a checkerboard display to help you align text. So you go to View, and it's high grid, so I want to show the grid. And we can't see here because we kind of pushed out. And it's covered up. So let me go to my Untitled, and View, Show Grid. Okay, so now the grid is showing, and you can see the different divisions. So when I go to my Preferences and go to Guides and Grids, here's where I told you earlier that you can change things. So right now it's a grid line for every inch. That's the major one, and 8 subdivisions. So right now, let me see what happens when I make 6 subdivisions. There's no preview here. And you can see that it changes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me go again. Preferences, Guides and Grids. And I can make it 4 subdivisions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so this is how the grid operates. So it helps you to line things up. And you see those little green things, those are my smart guides. So that's also helping me to line things up. Also, let me show you another thing in the preferences. I can change the color of the lines, or I can change it to dots. So if I'm doing something with all the lines, but sometimes the dots are kind of hard to see. I mean, no matter what color it is. So I prefer to keep it as lines. It's not like it's part of the art anyway. Okay, now also under View, guys, I can have Snap to Grid. So now if I'm moving something and it gets close to where I want, it'll immediately snap into place to the corner. So if I'm just like here, you see how it's kind of going right to the grid line, whereas before I had the freedom to move it where I want. So now you see I can end it just before it gets to a grid line. Okay, so Snap to Grid may be handy when you're trying to align things. Okay, so here's another thing with the smart guides, because I get the height and the X and Y position, and also it's showing me that I'm directly in the center, that both of those are lining up. So that's another reason why these smart guides are good to keep. All right. Okay, so that is the grid. Okay, I kind of saved the best for last because these are the panels, And the panels have all the tools and everything you're going to access. We've already been accessing them. These are the panels on the side here. This is your tool panel, and these are control panels up top. Now the control panel changes based on what tool you have selected. So right now I have the brush selected, so I can select my stroke size from here, whether it's going to be uniform, the size of the brush, opacity, and such. So when I change to the type tool, I also get character, paragraph, some different things. So it changes based on the tool that's being used. Okay, so this is a control panel up top. These are the panels that have your color, color guide. You can do shades and tints. And I'm just going over these really quickly because later on I'm going to go into detail. So there's no need to do it now. I just want to introduce you to these to make sure you know what they are. These are swatches right now. It just has show gradient swatches. So here I can choose all the swatches, just the color swatches, just the pattern swatches, and I can show color groups. Okay, and also brushes and symbols are here. And these are also down in the panel. So I selected it from here because they're all on the same tab in the same panel. These tabs are in the same panel, but I can select them from here also. So here you have your strokes, your gradient, your transparency. This is appearance, graphic styles, artboards, which you saw earlier, and layers, which I've been dealing with from the beginning. So this is the layers, and again, I'm going to go into detail about that. Okay, now here are your tools, your tool panels. So let's go in a little bit with that. Okay, so they're grouped in different sections. So these are your selection tools up here. So this is your direct selection. This is your selection tool. This is the main tool that you use most of the time. This is your direct selection tool, which allows you to choose anchors and points and parts of paths. Here's your lasso tool, and here's your magic wand tool. Okay, so those are your selection tools. Now these are your drawing and painting tools. And also when these little callouts come up, not only does it show you the name of the tool, but also shows you the shortcuts that you can use. So the shortcut for that is P. And another thing is up here is that all the shortcuts are on the right hand side. So it shows you the shortcut keys. So it's good to use the shortcut keys because that'll make you more efficient at your drawing. Okay, so try to memorize those. Using the same thing over and over again, learn the shortcut keys. Okay, so pen tool, your type tool, your line segment tool, and a rectangle tool. Also, now anything that has a little a white arrow in the corner, in the right bottom corner, if you hold down, it produces a call-out menu, show you the other things that are underneath that. And again, I'm going to go into that more in the future lessons. So rectangle tool, paintbrush tool, your pencil tool, the blob brush, and the eraser tool. So those are your drawing tools. Now this whole section is considered editing tools. Some of them are just really strictly editing. Some, I think, cross the line into drawing. So here's your rotate tool, your scale tool, your width tool, the free transform tool, your shape builder tool, and the perspective grid tool. And now here are some tools, editing tools I think cross a little bit into drawing. The mesh tool, which usually you use after you've created something and then you want to create some more gradients into it. The gradient tool is usually you're adding some gradients to a flat color. So again, I can see why it's editing because you're making changes. The eyedropper tool just picks up color that you've already selected that you want to use somewhere else. And the blend tool creates blends of different shapes and colors. Okay, now these are your symbol spraying tool, and this is your column graph tool. I think the column graph, definitely fits into the drawing because you're creating something from scratch there. And these are your viewing tools. The artboard tool, so this is another way to access the artboard. And your slice tool for slicing and dicing and cutting up stuff. The hand tool, which allows you to move your paper around. And the zoom tool, which allows you to zoom in. Okay, here you have fill and stroke. So right now just stroke is selected, and that's also able to be selected up here in the control panel. So I can swap the fill and stroke. I can click here to get the black and white. I can do Command D. Oops. I got that selected. And I can swap that. And I can do Command D or hit the D key to get the default. So D is the default, not Command D, just the letter D. Okay. Here you have your drawing modes. And that's in this section down here. So here, this the normal draw modes was the default, so it's normally selected. Here you can draw behind, so this helps you to draw behind the object. And here you can draw inside the object. And again, I'm going to show you how to do this later. Okay, so here you can change to full screen mode. So full screen with menu bar. So see that up top, everything just kind of shifted. And full screen mode totally without a menu bar. Okay, so and you hit escape to come back, and you're back to normal. Whoops, yeah, back to normal screen mode. Okay, so this is your tool panel. You'll be using this a lot, as well as the panels over here. Okay, so that pretty much I've shown you pretty much what I think you need to begin. There's a homework lesson with this. So basically, that'll be your first homework assignment. Was basically is to create some workspaces of your own. Now, even though you may not know, how you want to set up your space, just try to figure out what tools you might want to use right away, and then later on, as you start using them more and more, then modify that to your working style. Also, I want you to learn the shortcut keys. So if there's anything that you're using a lot, if there's a shortcut key for it, then I want you to memorize that, because that'll help you. So use your drawing hand for one thing, for drawing, and your left hand or your other hand, I should say, because not everybody's right-handed, your other hand for learning the shortcuts. Okay, believe me, this will definitely speed up your efficiency, or speed up your drawing to make you more efficient and to get work done faster. Okay, so that concludes our first lesson. Thanks for coming. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, go out and just create.